Welcome to the channel, welcome to the driveway. As you can see, June buggy's back. And the first time we've been back on the driveway like 18 months. I had hoped to get it back last year over summer, but just couldn't get a clear weekend, guaranteed 2 days. That it wasn't raining. But this weekend seems to be the one to go for, so took it out yesterday, brought it back to the house, and we've got some jobs that need doing to it. There's 4 jobs that need doing, 2 are essential, maybe an extra one on top of that, as I've just found out. I've just found a leak somewhere on the brakes, so I need to check that as well. So I'm going to have a quick run round, show you what I'm going to be doing, and yeah, hopefully this will be back on the road, a bit safer, so we can go to a car show next weekend. Right, what are the jobs we're looking at this weekend? Carburetor. This thing's been bogging down a lot ever since I bought the buggy and got it back on the road. So it's got a picked 3 carb on a 1.3, which is right for a single year, thankfully. The refurb kit to rebuild is about 25 quid. You can buy a Chinese knockoff of this for 40 quid. So I bought a Chinese knockoff new carb to make sure there's nothing else wrong with it. In addition, my mate across the way, he's going to maybe pop around later on today and do a engine timing and a few points things checks on it to make sure it's not a timing issue. So that's that. Other thing is, you might have noticed on my hair that it was parked up. I've got a little. This is the extra little bit. I've got a little puddle of something. Now it's either a cat pee, but it doesn't smell like cat pee, or I think the slave cylinder on this wheel has gone. So we've got to take the back off in a minute anyway, or the back off, so we'll go do a check on that. Next job. If I get around to this, this battery tray isn't great. I've got one that actually holds the battery in, so we're going to have to do some cutting here, work out how we're going to bolt the new battery tray. I bought one for my kit car, just make this battery a little bit safer. It does have a bag that goes around this to secure it and hold it in place, but that's just been taken out temporarily, but I was in and out with the battery. And the last job for today is when my daughter sits is out with me, she complains that there's no footrest at the back, so I bought a quick aluminium footrest to stick at the end there, and just help it will comfort when you sit in the passenger seat. Oh, sorry, and the very, very last thing is, the big thing that needs fixing, is if you look, that wheel is kicking in, and this one's not bad. When I redid the suspension and changed the spring arms on this, I made a mistake. I followed what was done previously. In fact, you can see it. You can almost see, hello Finn, how much it's over. What the problem is, as you can see, is it has a torsion beam, a torsion bar that sits in here, and then that, thank you Finn, and then that holds this. Now, I didn't pre-tension the torsion bar when I put these on. I just fitted it so it sat on here, sat on this little ridge, this little shelf here. And then when the car settled, lift the suspension, put it under tension. What you're supposed to do is pop it off, turn it round so it's below this ridge, attach this, and it pulls it up under tension, so you jack the end up, and then kick it onto this. As you can see, there must be a good 20mm gap there, which would lift the suspension. If that was down here on its lowest setting, it'll lift the suspension by about, I don't know, about 3 or 4 inches at this end, and it would basically, rather than the wheel doing this, it'll pull the wheel over because its geometry changes. So this is the big job. This is the one we're going to do first, because I think on this side it may not be yeah, it's about the same on that side, about 20mm, but it's more prolific on that one. So the plan is to do both sides at the same time. That way I can check, because my driveway is all over the place, I can't use a level to check the position of the swing arms. So I'm going to do both at the same time. I'm going to pick a point on the chassis the same on both sides, measure it down, and try and get approximately 3 turns on the spline, 3 teeth on the spline down, which should lift the back end by about 4 inches, I think, 10 centimeters, I think, which is what I need. It needs to be done there because it is bottoming out as well. So I said, when I did it originally, that was my mistake. I didn't appreciate, I didn't see a video that showed this little shelf thing where it holds it, that you have to pre-tension before you push it onto that. So we'll live and learn. So first job we're going to do, we're going to get this jacked up, get the wheels off it. I think the first thing we do, we are going to get this thing onto axle stands. I'm going to take that drum brake off and see if that slave cylinder in the brakes is leaking. If it is, I'll get one of them ordered. Then we can do all the suspension and hopefully go pick that up and get that fixed tomorrow. So right, the first job, get this on axle stands. So on the suspension, just to reiterate, I set the spring plate to sit on top of the shelf. It pushes back onto it. To cut a little bit off last time, but should be enough meat there, rather than have it hanging down. We'll get through in a minute. You bolt this on it all pull, you jack up this end, and but that's what we're fixing today. What I do need to do, the first job, is take this off to find out if that slave cylinder inside it's leaking or not. Because although there's not something there, but I'm not quite sure if it's something that's, like one of the cats in the streets wheeled up the inside of the wheel. It doesn't smell like that. It didn't really smell of brake fluid either. So let's get set up, get this off. Right, let's get this off and see if that is the problem and it is leaking. Yeah. It's definitely brake fluid in that. It smells like oil though. You know what? We'll get a rag to clean that up. Yeah, it's definitely coming from. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's gone. Now, do I have one of these? No, I'm gonna have to order one. Oh, is that one gone as well? No, just that one. Right, let's get this cleaned up a bit. That's a problem fixed. So that's definitely leaking from this side of this slave cylinder. So I'm gonna have to go order one. I might have a quick look, Eurocar parts and GSF, and see if they have any in stock. If they have, I'll buy it, go and pick it up, and we'll get that fixed. If not, we'll do all the suspension, and then we'll change that out tomorrow. Just take the wheel back off. It's only a 5-minute job to get that off. Right, let me do some googling. So, quick update: changing order of operations. GSF and Eurocar parts don't stop the brake cylinder that I need. They haven't got any in stock in Manchester in Trafford Park, so I'm gonna have to order them. I'm going to order them online on eBay, because I think Eurocar parts like £35 each for them, which is a ridiculous amount of money. I know there'll be a massive discount through your checkout, but even so. So I'm going to order those, and we'll get those fitted in the week. So that means it allows me to have the crack on, get the suspension done, and then we'll just do the brakes later on. The deal I've got is these 2 for 16 quid. So I might change both just to be on the safe side to make sure the brake balance is correct. It's similar on both sides. When I was walking out to the local motor factors, because I just popped out to see if they had one randomly in stock. They don't, but they were really, really, really helpful. I popped into a mate across the road who's going to come round and check the timing on this. early this afternoon, which means I'm going to leave the suspension. I'm going to do a couple of other jobs because I can't take it out on Sunday because the brakes are gone. I've got more time to do the jobs on it. So we're going to do a couple of quick jobs. Like I think we're going to fit the footrest until it pops over, and then we'll get the timing up, we fit the carb to it, and then I'll go around and do the suspension. Yeah, so I'll just bring you along on what my day is turning out to be, my weekend. Problem solving. So we're going to start with fitting the footrest, which I've only had my daughter sitting here. It's going to go around about there. So what I now need to do is drill some holes in the bottom, and then we can get it mounted. Now there is a cross beam across here, but I've measured, and I think if I put the holes in the far corners, we should miss it. We get that'll be one job done. To secure, I'm just going to use some M6 bolts with some nylock washers on it, just to be on the safe side. These are nothing special from B&Q Pick and Mix, I think they are. So okay, that's a great job. That's fit. It's in with 3 bolts because I could not get to this one here to get anything behind it to screw it in. So it's in with 3. It's a bit flexible, but it's better than it was before. On to the next one. Let's see what we're going to do next. So I was also looking at fitting the battery tray to the dune buggy. I bought this universal one. Basically, it clicks across, these spin round, and they clamp onto the battery. Unfortunately, it required a lot more work to get this to work because of these things that stick out the sides. The space isn't big enough. So tie up was at the moment, put the bag back round it, put the clamp in, put a nut on it which wasn't there before, and it's holding the battery quite stable at the moment. Unfortunately, I've got wiring coming from all over the place into these, so the bag's had to sort of work around it, as well as my battery cut off. So that'll do for now. Unfortunately, see, this is the battery tray that kicks in here, and there's this piece of steel here which is threaded, which holds this. All this needs cutting out and doing properly, so that's going to be a job for another day, I think. Right, so let's see what we've got to do now. Still waiting for Mark to pop over. He's currently working on his cars at the moment. I think I'm going to start stripping down the suspension. Yeah. So the idea on the suspension is I'm going to do both sides at the same time. That way I can do measurements between both sides to make sure that the splines are still as near as damn it within 5 mil of each other in terms of suspension height. But I'll probably only film working on one side primarily. Although it's just the same thing on both. But you'll notice in the video everything will be stripped off both. It's just to make it easier for myself. Right, let's reset up over there and start taking the suspension apart. What do we need to do to get this out then? So we need to take these 4 bolts out, take these 3 bolts out, disconnect the damper. This will allow this then to free up because I can pull the hub this way. I'll get something to hang it from, although it will hit the ground okay. It will drop down. Then I can get this and knock it off this way, and it will release the potential in the torsion bar which is in there. So I'm going to do that for both sides, get this knocked off, and then we can start doing a measurement. For instance, I might take it from the end to say this point, it's a solid point, or do a distance from here to here and do a mark, make sure the distance. I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to set it up, but it will be dropping down at least 3 splines on the end spline. I get the feeling I've got a mismatch between the end spline and the inner spline. So that's the plan. So right, saying so a lot. Yeah, so let's set up the camera so you can see what I'm doing, and we'll get all this unbolted on this side, and then I'll do the same on the other side at the same time. we've got this one stripped down now finally. I'm having some problems with the handbrake cables are a bit tight, but I've got this one sort of slewed over and held up in place so I can play around with this. I'm hoping that when this goes in, it'll go in right. So obviously we've got the spline on this. So the idea is that this goes in there onto the spline, and then it's going to sit below this little ledge that I cut off unknowingly. So rather than sitting sort of in line with that, it's going to sit down about 3 teeth, I think. So that's the plan, and then I'm going to do a check off some key points and measurements and things like that to the end of things to make sure this one matches the other side. So before I do that though, I am going to go and strip the other side off. I'll be back in a minute to this. Next time you see me, hopefully we'll be putting this back together and measuring it up. I'm getting somewhere. Right. You might have noticed I've had to take the brake drum off. That's because I had to loosen off the handbrake cables. I can't do them in the cab because they've been shortened and it's just no end of pain. So I'm sacking off and I've got enough slack. So I'm going to go down 3 notches on the torsion bar. That apparently says it's going to drop the car or lift the car by about 100 millimeters, 4 inches. The line there, this top one, is the line this was originally set at. This line is 3 notches down, and I've doing some measuring from here to the top there. It's about 15 centimeters. And let's go around to the other side. As I said before, I've been measuring the same on this. Now it does look really excessive, but I'm going to trust the science on this and the tables. The only thing I'm really worried about is having to jack up the spring plates to get them up and then get them over, and then I can work out how I'm going to get the hub back onto it. But one battle at a time. At the moment, I've had to take the rubber bushings out that are in here because they go in a particular way. Sorry, they go in a particular way on the inside. So this is just to help set it up and then draw the line so I know where it goes back together. So I want to go onto the other side, which has got more access and. Right, first job, I need to get this bushing in so this can come off. Let's throw some gloves on because it's full of grease. So I want to put one on before I jack this up, so at least it's not going to ping off. Or do I jack it up and I can knock it back, can't I? I'm not sure. Not sure. I think it might be easier. I'm trying to problem solve here. It might be easier to jack this up and then knock it back when it's up all the way to that line there. Right. Let's go get the trolley jack in. We may still need to get another ratchet strap to ratchet strap the suspension. Sorry, the trolley jack to this. So when I push it up, it's compressing because there may not be enough weight in the vehicle to drop it up. So let's make some room, and we'll see if that's the case. Right, it's in. Let's give it a go. I think we might be okay. Still being careful with it though. think I'm going to have to ratchet strap or get mate to come sit in the car with extra weight. Let me have a think. It's on. It's in. It was done with a combination of my my neighbour standing on the side to have some extra weight because it was lifting the car. And then once it was there or thereabouts, lump hammer on the end with a piece of wood, knock it all the way through. Then we let it go, readjust it, knocked it on again. So these are all on. So just need to bolt this back together now. Hopefully that goes relatively quickly and easily, but we'll see because I've got to manage this going onto the spring plate here and move that around and see what we can get. But we'll manage it. Right, I'll put a time lapse on putting it together. Oh, I did actually have to adjust it so it's not as lifted as much as it was, because when we were going to lift it 3 notches, I think it's now lifting 2 notches, because 3 notches there just wasn't enough weight in the car to compress the spring. So I think 2 should be enough to lift it by about 60 mil, which is all I need. Right, let me set the camera up and we'll do it. Well, that sort of went together all right, actually. I had to use the jack to lift up put some tension there to the bolt through. But it's gone together. Just need to torque it all up and then put the other side together, which now I know what I'm doing in order of operation should be quicker. Right, let me torque all this up, do the other side, and then we might put the wheels on it and see how low it is. Oh, sorry, low. It's not my other car's lower. See how taller it is. Back together. I use the majority of tools at my workshop. There's some that aren't even there. You'll notice the wheels are sitting slightly out now. That's just because it's just been dropped down. It needs to have a bit of a load on it. But currently, to give you an idea of how much it's been lifted by, originally this tyre edge was reached on the bottom of here, so I've measured it's about 100 mil at 4 inches. I reckon that'll drop down by another inch or so as the wheel sort of turns in on itself. But yeah, just what was needed to make it a bit safer. Now, really pleased. Right, tidy this lot up, and I think my mate's coming over, and we're going to look at the timing on this and change the carb. Getting quite a lot done today, actually. Quite pleased. Suspension's lifted. Arse of a job at times. So it required 2 of us to do it because there's no weight on the buggy to compress the torsion beam at the back, torsion bar at the back. But yeah, that's done. Footrest is done. Cleaned up the battery tray a little bit, and just one more job, which is the carb. And I need to order the brake rear brake cylinders. I'm going to do both, I think, just on the safe side, because they're both replaced at the same time. So that'll be a job for next week, I think, and then we can get this hopefully to a car show next weekend. Right, I'm going to have a tidy up, and then next time we'll be on with the carb. Potential good news. My mate Mark from across the way has been over and he's checked the timing and the dwell angle on the engine. Dwell angle is absolutely perfect. The timing, though, was 7 degrees out. It was set at top dead center, so it was running, but he thinks that might be the reason why it's bogging down and it's sputtering when it's put under load. So he's reset it and it sounds so much better. The result of that is I'm not going to change the carb on it. I'm going to leave it as it is and give it a test run. It's got some good fuel in it now, and see how it goes. That's probably going to be next weekend, because I need to get the brakes done on this, and I can't get those parts now till Tuesday. So yeah, it's been a good weekend, and I've definitely earned a beer. So off we done. Suspension's been lifted. You might be able to see we moved it back and forward, and the wheels have straightened a bit. I think they'll go again. I think the lift is about 70 mil overall now, which is fantastic. I can't wait to give it a run. The battery tray was cleaned up and put back together again, and that footrest for the passenger has been put in to make that a bit more comfortable for my daughter when she's out with me in this. And that's it. So hopefully the carb's okay, and at some point I might take this off and refurb it and give it a damn good clean. But yeah, it's been a very long, very enjoyable day. Learned a lot of things about how to do the rear suspension on this, and the fact that this thing's so light that I needed additional weight ballast to get the suspension to pull back together again. But yeah, if you enjoyed following my adventure today working on this pile of crap, thanks for watching. Cheers.